so through breastfeeding. And when you compare to babies who are formula fed, remember the formula, there's chemicals, there's preservatives that are put there. And then at times you are a working mom, you go to work, you leave your child with someone, and no matter how clean you are, yes, there will be that human error that will happen, and then you find that the child will be having that diarrhea, from the way maybe the bottle or the milk has been prepared, So those are the things.
So that affects umntwana.
It affects umntwana kakhulu, It affects umntwana kakhulu. Hence we say once your child starts to maybe going to the crèche or nursery, this is where you see problems kakhulu. Because now there is survival of the fetus, because now remember there's kids that are coming there with minor flus and whatever. So if the immune system is not well built, this is where we get babies will be having diarrhea, babies will be coughing, and then when they bring their kids at home, he has just started crèche last week. You get people that are coming to the clinic because they just want to talk. They just want to talk.
I think, but this is now a privilege for private clinics. What do you think about how notorious public clinics are?
Sure.
When it comes to specifically psychiatry, when you get to the clinic, a lot of people will say, maybe my privacy is not respected.
Exactly.
And I know that whenever I get there, the service is probably going to not be the best.
Exactly.
Even how they speak to you. If, for example, a 19-year-old comes and says, I want to do family planning, they know that they will probably get judged.
Yes, yeah.
And is this part of the reason you remove yourself from these institutions?
This is the reason why I removed myself from that situation. Remember, I spoke about ethics. I spoke about ethics. Some of the things I regard them as not ethical at all. Yes, I know that I'm a mother, but when a 16-year-old or a 13-year-old comes to the clinic, and seeking this family planning or contraceptive, I don't have to judge that person. Instead, I have to sit it down and educate.
Okay. There you go. Hi, Unscripted family. You are back with your host, Aloe. Today, I actually have a very interesting guest. Her name is Phumla Msimango. She is a nurse by profession and an entrepreneur, but she's also a mom and wife. So she's going to inform us with all things mommy and all things health and all things wellness, because that is what we are for on this podcast. Okay. Without further ado, hello, Mkulu.
Hi, Mangle.
Kunjani. Could you please introduce yourself to our audience?
Hi, my name is Phumla Msimango. I'm a nurse by profession, and I'm a nurse-preneur as well. And health, wellness is in my heart.
Yeah. Since I've known you.
Since you've known me.
Yeah. Guys, Mkulu was very strict, by the way. I used to come to her house and she'd be like, your nails need to be short enough as a child. You need to be clean. What are you eating? You need to eat healthy. So I can attest to the fact that you've always been health conscious.
I've always been.
Yeah. And where did you study?
Okay, I studied at Bara from 1990 up until 1993. And I became a midwife in 1994, working at Bara as well. And then 1995 to 2005, I joined the military. That was during the time of integration. I went to military hospital where I became a unit manager. Yes, it was difficult. I remember it was that time when we were integrating from the old National Defence Force to South African National Defence Force now.
Okay.
So, yeah, but we managed because as long as you know your goal, you know your objective, I was there because of whatever that I love, nursing. So from there, I joined the occupational health because I also have a diploma in occupational health. So I joined the companies like your NEMPEC, your ASA Aloe, SAB, and I also worked for Ichimalto. That was making credit cards, all your credit cards, your checkbooks, yeah. So I was working there as a nurse as well.
Yeah.
Yes. And then
I actually have a question. I just don't want to forget because I've got questions running through.
Okay.
So I want to go back to the military. What was your primary role there?
My primary role was nursing.
Okay.
Because I went there to nurse. Remember, in military, there's a part where there's defense, and then there's health part, and then your biokinetics and your soldiers that are deployed to your DRCs and whatever. But I mainly went there for nursing. My role was nursing, but before you even do that nursing part, you undergo training as well.
Okay.
You undergo training as well. So we had to do the training as well. So
nursing training. Or training
as a soldier.
Military training.
Military training, you do everything. You're shooting, you go to your shooting range, you do everything that the soldiers are doing.
So you fit.
Except that you go to the combat. Yeah. But we do that, yeah. We do that.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know.
We do that, yeah.
And then you worked for public health after that?
Yes, I did work for public health.
And you were specifically in which department when you were?
The department that I was in, it's gynae. It was a comprehensive department because now we used to military. Then remember, it was specifically for those people that were in the military before. But now that we integrated, so we had to take our families. They went to consult there. So it was. Initially, they were nursing. The ratio was 1 to maybe 4 clients, or 4 patients. So when we went there, it started to grow. So the department that I was working in, it was also integrated. It was not only one department, but mainly it was called a gynae department because mainly we had a gynae patients that were coming there. Your gynaes, and then we had your urology part that were coming there, and then we have your ENT and your eye ophthalmology, whatever department that was grouped in one department. We also had the plastic surgery in the same department. Yeah, okay. Yes. We also had the plastic surgery in the same department. So,
plastic surgery, how?
Plastic surgery. We had clients or patients who were coming for your tummy tucks, for your breast reduction.
So, aesthetic plastic surgery.
Yes. That's the benefit that, we don't want to go into.
Alright, so sorry guys, I actually ran into some technical difficulties, but you were still talking about plastic surgery in the Defence Force.
Yes, plastic surgery in the Defence Force. So it's one of the benefits.
Yeah.
That when I was working there, I also benefited from that because I did my breast reduction there.
Wow.
Yes, because I was, look how tiny I am, but the cup was F, so yes, the cup was F, so they reduced the cup to cup D. So cup D. Yeah, but of course after that I conceived, I became pregnant, so it grew up a little bit as well. Yeah,
I wanted to ask that when you get pregnant,
you are able to breastfeed, you do everything because remember there's glands there. The mammary glands that produce milk, so they don't interfere with that. Yes, they will be cutting a little bit of fat that you remember it's fat that is there. So they will be reducing that fat that is there, and then but the mammary glands or your glands, they remain the same. Change.
Okay.
You're able to breastfeed. You do everything when you're pregnant. The sensation, everything, comes back to normal. Yeah, after some time.
And like I said earlier, you're a mom of 2.
Mom of 2.
Did you breastfeed both?
I've breastfeeded both,
Yeah.
but remember with the type of job that we are doing, so you'll be interrupted, and our maternity benefit then, or maternity leave, it was up to 3 months.
Oh.
So yes, 3 months, that 3 months you'll breastfeed constantly, and you know, fortunately when I was pregnant with the first baby, I had a baby shower. And you know, friends bought me a breast pump.
Okay.
But I wouldn't afford the salary of nurses, yeah. So they bought me a breast pump. So with the breast pump, you can do so much. In your spare time, you're seated, you're not doing anything, you're watching TV, you just take your pump, and then your pump. You put it in the fridge, it can stay there for about 3 months, you know, in the freezer.
In the freezer. I've seen with that. So in the actual refrigerator, isn't it like maybe 24 hours? And then in the deep freezer, it's about 3 months or so.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I got, because I had to go back with breastfeeding as well, and the pump that I got was not suctioning my properly. So I think I would have been able to breastfeed longer if I had gotten the right pump to help express, because I was having problems with latching.
Okay.
Yeah.
So going back to latching, I think it starts when you're pregnant. You know, they're supposed to teach you wherever it's you attending the antenatal classes. So this is where it starts, where they will be teaching you how to hold your baby, how to, you know, latch your baby, and you know, with I sometimes hear mothers saying, I actually don't have milk. You do have milk. You look back, you see people from this African countries, you know, the mother is so skinny, but the baby is always on the breast, and milk is coming out from that breast. And it's actually countries where there is starvation, but because the breast is there, the child will survive for the longest, you know, because of the breast milk. The way we advocate for our kids or for our babies, you know, breast milk is the best. We are having load shedding as we speak now. You know, we're experiencing load shedding. So when there's load shedding, you don't stress about how am I going to boil the water, how am I going to warm the food or whatever, if it's your baby's formula fed. So, you know, this milk is, you know, readily available. It's cheap. You know,
it's free.
It's free, it's cheap. So it's readily available, and it has all the nutrients that you can get, you know, that you can, you know, think of.
I've heard of some moms saying that, and doctors, healthcare professionals, just talking about, I'm not sure if it's antibodies that your body produces even when you're sick that could be beneficial to your child's immune system. For example, if you've got flu.
They build the immune system of the child, yes. That is why breastfed kids, they don't have this, you know, diarrhea now and again, coughing now and again, because of the antibodies that they're getting from their mom, you know, so through breastfeeding. And, you know, when you compare to babies who are formula fed, remember the formula, there's chemicals, there's preservatives that are you know, are put there. And then at times you are a working mom, you go to work, you leave your child with someone, you know, and no matter how clean you are, you know, yes, there will be that human error that will happen, and then you find that the child will be having that diarrhea, you know, from the way maybe the bottle or the milk has been prepared, you know. So those are the things.
So that affects umntwana.
It affects umntwana kakhulu, you know. It affects umntwana kakhulu. Hence we say, once your child starts to maybe going to the crèche or nursery, you know, this is where you see problems kakhulu. You know, because now, you know, there is survival of the fittest, because now remember there's kids that are coming there with minor flus and whatever. So if the immune system is not well built, this is where we get babies will be having diarrhea, babies will be coughing, and then when they bring their kids, I don't know, he has just started crash last week. You know? So even the change of environment,
I've seen even like a man, I don't know what to call them in English, but on babies' necks the minute they start crash. I'm not sure if he eats Zumba or these things about Villa Zona. Every child that I know, I don't know if it's Watts. I'm not sure.
If you say in Zumba, so in English it's Watts. You know,
even on the eyes, on the eyelids, the minute there's every child that I have encountered from my specific street alone, the minute they start crash, locally, I know that, oh, okay, by the time this child, I know they started crash, I need to expect that this is going to happen. And all of them without fail have that.
Okay, I haven't experienced that a lot. So in my practice, you know, I see a lot of kids who come with high fever, diarrhea, the coughing, you know, once they started crash, coughing, you know. And other kids, I remember other kids, they're not sick because they've started ill, or maybe they've encountered or maybe they've encountered maybe the sickness or whatever, the fever, because they went to crash. By mere removing them from their comfort environment and then taking them to this strange environment for the first time, you know, mommy will not be there for the whole day, you know, so they tend to regress, you know. They'll start having, others will start having this fever, you know, because now they miss that motherly love, you know, because you've been with this child maybe for 3 months at home, you know, cuddling and doing everything. So by mere you taking that child to that crèche, you know, it's a different environment altogether. And remember, the focus is not on her only, or it's not on him only, you know. So there's so many kids that she has to interact, you know, she has to eat something that she's not used to, you know. So that change of environment, you know, for the first 3 months, yes, you'll struggle, you know, but as time goes on, because we want those kids to interact, motor skills, you know, we want them to interact. So motor skills, it makes them grow, you know. Playing with other kids, it also makes them grow, you know. Yeah, so those are the things, you know, they become very clever if they start attending this early learning centers.
Early age.
Early age.
Do you think the immune system builds up as well?
It will be built up automatically. It will be built up. Yes, we have to supplement there and there. You know, you give your kids the supplements, the multivitamins, you know, but the immune system will eventually, not forgetting the immunization part. Okay. You know, that's the worst thing that you can do as a parent, not to get your child immunized. You know, that's the worst thing. It's actually a crime, you know. It's actually a crime. But we get mothers who don't want the kids to be immunized because of whatever certain beliefs that they have, you know. But it's actually a crime. Every child has a right to be immunized. You know?
I watched, there's this show, I digress a lot, sorry, but there's a show, Suits, and there was a case against a woman who didn't want to get her child, I think it was a measles. Yeah. And other children started getting, I don't know what happened, but and she actually got arrested for it.
Yes, what happens is, remember in 2020, was it 2023, 2022, 2023, we had an outbreak of measles. And you go to some communities, of which I cannot name the communities now. Yeah. You go to those communities and then they will tell you straight, we don't take measles. We don't immunize against measles. Yes, in the midst of an outbreak. Yes, things like that, you just refer them to your district health department. Those are the people that will deal with the situation, you know, because remember, those kids, they interact with other kids somewhere. So you won't keep that outbreak if there's people who are anti-immunization.
Sure. That's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. Excellent.
Okay, so then you moved from obviously the military and you've been in public health for a very long time before you started your own practice.
Yes.
Okay. What's the name of your practice?
The name of the practice is Xavier Healthcare.
Okay.
Xavier.
So this is what makes you an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Xavier Healthcare.
Xavier Healthcare. I've been dreaming about this since said maybe one day I'll have my own clinic. I'll have my own clinic where I'll remember when you're working with people, you're not working alone, you're working with people, so you'll have conflicting whatever ideas. There's this ethical part that goes in as well, and you feel my heart is I don't know, for kids. I'll die for kids.
Yeah.
I'll die for kids. So whatever that is happening, once you want to advocate, and then you see people that are doing unethical things, and you say, okay, but this is not my space. And when you tell other people, they say, no, you do what the Romans do in Rome. So, but for me, that's not the case, So hence I decided, maybe one day I'll have my own practice where I will say I'll do the right things for whatever kids that are there,
I know the one thing you used to always advocate for was also cleanliness.
That one is in
here.
it's in here even now. Even when people come into my practice, they will say, "Oh, this place is so clean." I went to one surgery. It was like,
imagine in a healthcare place
healthcare place. Even people that are working with me, and they will say, "Yo, Sister Phumla, cleanliness." I said, what cleanliness? You can be how health conscious or whatever, but if you're not clean, you won't achieve that healthy part. Because cleanliness is part of being healthy as well. Yeah. So this is me, and I'm not gonna change.
I know.
I'm not gonna change, and I don't compromise in that.
Yeah, I know.
I don't compromise in that. Yeah, I don't compromise in that. To such an extent that the lady who's assisting me in, they normally feel offended. But I can't sit and say, okay, I'll be waiting for this person to come and empty my bin. I'll wait for this person to come and clean the floors. So if I'm there early before they come, I do the job.
Yeah.
I do the job because my priority is, cleanliness. Yeah. All the way.
And I just wanted to ask, where is your clinic?
My clinic is in Rotterdam. Verona Street is next to South Rand Hospital. Remember, I went there for a reason. Next to the hospital. Remember, I said you cannot work in solo. So Southern Hospital is my referring hospital.
Oh.
Yes, it's a referring hospital to me, and there are cases where you feel this one needs a hospital.
Yeah.
So this needs a hospital. So they are the people that I communicate with. I'll be phoning them and telling them, I want to refer a client. To you guys, because really I cannot just work alone.
Some cases are
hospital cases, so you cannot, because you are there to give the optimal or the best care that you can, But where you cannot, we have to refer to other places.
And then what services do you provide at your clinic?
The services, I provide everything.
Yeah.
Everything that you need, because I normally tell my colleagues, I said, other people, they don't come to the clinic because they are physically sick. They come to the clinic because they want to offload. So I provide everything, starting from, because I cannot say conception, starting from your family planning, because life started family planning. Yeah, so you have to do the family planning, because we remember we don't want this unwanted pregnancies, teenage pregnancies and whatever. So this is where we start. So there's preventative services that you offer. So your family planning is one of them, whereby you advocate to this whatever unwanted, pregnancies or unwanted pregnancies and unborn babies. So we ask the community to come to the clinic. We do those awareness, that you can still prevent pregnancies before they happen. You don't want to be pregnant and then you want to go and do the termination. Yes, termination is legal in our country, but
preferably
we say prevention is better than cure. And then we have your HIV testing or your HIV screening. We have your TB screening as well. So those are STI screening. Those are the things that we do in the part of preventative method services. And then we have the curative. You come with your flu, you come with the diarrhea, and then I treat you. And then I have mothers who come when they conceive, their pregnancies, and and not all were planned. Not all were planned. So this is where your psych comes in now. Your psych comes in now because you become a counselor. You sit down with them. You give them options. There's options in every service that you have. You make them understand. You give them choices. Why you give them choices? When they do that, take the decision. It's informed decision. But this is where it comes. The side part of my training. Counseling those people. And then you get people that are coming to the clinic because they just want to talk. They just want to talk.
I think, but this is now a privilege for private clinics. What do you think about how notorious public clinics are?
Sure.
When it comes to specifically psychiatry, when you get to the clinic, a lot of people will say, maybe my privacy is not respected.
Exactly.
And I know that whenever I get there, the service is probably going to not be the best.
Exactly.
Even how they speak to you. If, for example, a 19-year-old comes and says, I want to do family planning, they know that they will probably get judged.
Yes, yeah.
And is this part of the reason you remove yourself from these institutions?
This is the reason why I removed myself from that situation. Remember, I spoke about ethics. I spoke about ethics. Some of the things I regard them as not ethical at all. Yes, I know that I'm a mother, but when a 16-year-old or a 13-year-old comes to the clinic, and seeking this family planning or contraceptive, I don't have to judge that person. Instead, I have to sit it down and educate. So when you're working in the public sector, remember there's so many people that are going there. You'll probably see plus minus maybe 50 clients a day. Whilst in the clinic that I'm working at now, because I take myself as an employee there, because I'm doing this myself, You see a client, you give your time, you give your all, you give your all to this person. Even when she leaves the clinic, she knows I went there for a reason. I got what I wanted, because you give all your all. You educate, you advise, you give information so that whatever that will come there is informed. It's informed. Maybe that is why I kept on getting, I'm getting so many references, from just word of mouth. People will say, no, I was referred by so and so. My clinic is in Rosentville. I have clients from Jimistin. I have clients, yes, Rodeport,
Sure.
I have clients from Rodeport. And so by that, it shows, yes. And then we have this, I don't even want to call them foreigners, Yes, it's foreign nationals. They come to our clinics, and I think this is where they get their comfort. Because now when they go to the public sector, this is where they, they are told whatever, and we treat everyone equally, or we all equal, we all equal.
Okay. And then how did you now go from that to something we have up here, if you haven't noticed? We have forever living products. So as an entrepreneur and having your own clinic, how did you now then say, actually, I'm looking at these products and this can be beneficial for my patients? What attracted you to what we have up there?
What attracted me to that? Remember, as a nurse we are not supposed to judge. We still have people who believe in herbal medicine. In herbal medicine, and you give them terms. But sister, for how long am I going to drink these tablets? Yes,
but it's also a valid concern.
It's a valid concern, yes. It's a valid concern, and that one we cannot run away from it. For example, if a client comes to me and he's on blood pressure medication, he's not supposed to stop the treatment. He is not going to stop the treatment. It's lifetime. That is why it's called chronic medication. So the only thing that the forever whatever living products does, yes, they are herbal, they are from Aloe, it's just an Aloe, products, no preservatives or anything.
Nice.
So it's just to supplement. There are supplements, not they supplement with those tablets, and it's written kids, but even adults can take it. Even adults can take it. So we have adults who are just petite and they want to gain a little bit of weight. They take those vitamins. They take there's a shake that they also take. That boost their muscle. It boosts their muscle, because remember we need that muscle. To be flavor whatever. And there's a vitamin A, not vitamin, the aloe peach.
Okay.
Aloe peach, it's also nice for kids. Kids that don't want to eat. They also take it, and then adults they also use it for gaining weight. Because it gives them that. Remember, it has aloe as well. So that aloe, it prepares your gut. The aloe will prepare your it detoxes the gut, it cleans your gut, and then everything is to, like, it's easy to be absorbed in your system.
Yeah.
Hence, we have that. Yes.
So you have quite a lot of aloe products.
It's a lot of aloe products. You have your skin range. You have your nutritional supplements. Yes. You have your weight management, to those. Remember, with the treatment that we are using for our clients, every treatment, especially, you have to according to weight, So obesity is one of the issues that we are fighting. Obesity is one of the issues that we are fighting. So we cannot say to a client, go and starve yourself. Don't eat. So they must eat nutritional whatever diet. When you talk nutritional diet, we have people who can't maybe afford to buy the products. You just refer them to their gardens. Refer them to refer them to their gardens. They go and plant. And take from their gardens and eat. Those are very good supplements as well.
Okay, and I've also seen that you've got a lot of stuff for during pregnancy and for postpartum for mommies.
For mommies.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think you mentioned something for postpartum. I'm just not sure which product was it.
Postpartum. I think I spoke about the Arctic Sea.
Okay.
Arctic Sea, it's one of the supplements that you go to any nutritional supplement, you get it. Because it has this omega-3. So remember, omega-3 works in your brain as well. It works in your brain as well. So yes, we do recommend that. That is why in pregnancy as well, you need that omega-3, so that it helps you.
It helps.
As well, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I also want to go back to what you were talking about now regarding, regarding all the supplements and the shakes you have. And I also want to go back to something you provide at the clinic, which is the IV. I'm not sure if you mentioned that.
No, I didn't mention the IV. Yes, the IVs that I'm giving to my clients. Yes, I do get people who wants the glow trip, you know, but I specifically give the energy. Your vitamin B core. Okay. Just to supplement your vitamin B core, your vitamin B12. I also give that, and yes, the glow. Yes, you do get. Remember, if the clients wants, you give. You give your tatayon or whatever, and the vitamin C immune boost trips. Yeah, those are the trips that I normally give. Nice. Because I don't believe in these things of skin lightness or whatever. Yeah, just
so the rumor of the glow trip does it help skin lightening?
If you've put something that is going to lighten the skin,
okay,
glow, you're just going to glow. It will help with the skin, the acne. Yes.
I think that's an interesting one. So it wouldn't hurt to now go get maybe a glow drip or the energy one, and also just take a good supplement.
Exactly. Yeah. So with my clients, what they do, the ones that are taking the energy drip, they will take the energy drink and buy a supplement called Forever Daily. Okay. Yes, because remember with they only do it once a month, and then they will be supplementing with the Forever Daily. Tablets, those tablets, they have everything. Your vitamin D, your vitamin B, your vitamin C, your zinc, selenium, they have everything. Yeah, they have everything in it. Yeah.
Okay. There's one thing I find interesting before we wrap it up. And I think I asked you to bring this here because, and I don't know why I find this so interesting, because it's an energy drink, but I noticed that it said caffeine free and sugar free. So then where does the energy come from? Because I know usually
from the aloe.
So if you're a person who you don't want to have caffeine, especially for pregnant women, I know you're not
pregnant women. Yeah. People who are taking antidepressants.
Oh, you're not supposed to have caffeine when you're on antidepressants.
Yeah, caffeine. Remember, caffeine, it will aggravate your palpitations, and you stay awake.
I don't drink coffee. Do you know that?
I didn't know.
I don't drink coffee because my heart literally races. So maybe
it is caffeine.
Yeah.
It is caffeine.
Thank you. But I was just talking about ugu. Whenever I have caffeine, I love this drink from McDonald's, actually iced coffee. And whenever I have it, I even get anxious if I've got a task that I need to finish. I am feeling way too anxious to actually get it done. And then I need to wait for myself to be well rested. So is that something you would recommend for me?
I'll recommend that for you.
Okay.
I'll recommend that for you.
Another interesting thing, it's no calories.
No calories.
So for people who are weight conscious,
no sugar, no calories, no caffeine. Remember, caffeine also makes you pick.
Really?
Yes, and the other thing about caffeine that you don't know, caffeine makes other nutrient supplements not to be absorbed in your gut.
Oh.
Yes, it prevents absorption in your gut.
So what do you have to say to our coffee drinkers, that cannot live without?
They'll tell you that it gives them energy. Yeah, there's people who can't start their day without coffee. Yes, they'll tell you we have caffeine-free coffees, but to them
it's not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same. So remember, too much of a thing, it does what? Addiction.
Yeah.
So it's addiction. So every learned behavior can be unlearned. It can be because you've learned it. So
definitely.
So you can unlearn that behavior. Yeah. So I think with me as well, yes, I'm health conscious, but I think Forever made it worse. I can't start my day without an aloe gel.
Yeah.
Caesar can't start his day without an aloe gel. Caesar can't start his day without an aloe gel. We actually sharing a bottle, me and my husband, every morning, because we are only two in the house now, but we start our day with, the last time I went to Postnet to Korea, the product for Ubegi, because he wanted the Agi Plus.
Oh.
It gives me energy, and then he also wanted this. I remember I said this will help you with the concentration, because he used to buy the omega-3. He used to buy, he used to buy the omega-3 over the counter, or he will buy BioPlus. Of which BioPlus, it also has its own things. Yes, it gives them energy, but but this is natural. So I had to go and Korea this. Plus, it was this Agi Plus and the aloe gel. Because now he's going back to school, so university, so the concentration mode.
I think I was not well informed when it comes to supplements, because I would ask myself, there are kids who lived in the study area, and I cannot surpass the number of hours sitting in one place, and I would ask myself, why am I yawning? Why am I struggling with this? But I actually never used anything for energy. I didn't know omega-3. I have never taken BioPlus. So that's something you'd recommend.
Yeah. There's this, and then there's focus as well. There's two of this, but this because of the omega-3. So of course, once you are allergic to fish, you cannot take this because of that. There's crayfish oil, all the types of oils that are there, fish oils, that are there. So you can.
That's also an interesting one.
You can take it. So with every these products are I think for me they are doing wonders. They're doing wonders. Especially for kids who don't want to eat vegetables and whatever fruits, who are just picking from the plates. You give.
Okay.
And then if you also have a busy day, where I'm also taking Active Seed, by the way, in Sydney. We're also taking Active Seed. So yes, we do buy tuna fish, and we used to do sandwiches.
Tuna sandwiches.
Tuna sandwiches almost, But now that there's this Active Seed,
you don't have to.
We do.
You can eat it for enjoyment purposes, but at least you still have.
So I used to that now, since I started these, So you talk about something that you know. So the interesting part about this, you still have to go to your dentist, by the way.
Okay, so this is the tooth gel.
Yes, you still have to go to your dentist every 6 months, as recommended. But now, if you can feel from time to time, just sit down and just feel, especially after eating, after maybe 2-3 hours after eating, you just feel your just move your tongue around your teeth, you'll feel that there's this thing called plaque.
Okay.
After washing with this, that plaque's
gone.
It's gone, feel that smoothness in your teeth, that smoothness in your teeth. So, and then we also have people with halitosis. No matter how they they brush their teeth, there's that thing, halitosis. But with that one, starts from the gut.
Okay, so it's halitosis. What is it?
Bad breath,
really bad breath.
Irrespective of whatever. There's people who will tell you that I can't, survive without a gummy or whatever, mint in my mouth or something, But it's from the inside.
Yeah.
It's from the inside. Hence, this is where we recommend the aloe gel. You start with your aloe gel, and then you use this.
Yeah.
You use this.
And you had mentioned that it's also good. It's especially good for kids, babies.
Yes, because they want to swallow everything.
Yeah.
You give them tooth gel, they brush. Instead of spitting out, they just swallow. So they swallow.
So this is good because it doesn't have fluoride.
It doesn't have fluoride.
Okay. So it's not going to affect them in any how.
Okay. It doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on here and sharing.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the platform.
Yes. There are so many products. We could actually...
I think the next time we'll talk about weight management products. Weight management products.
And just dive into that.
Yeah, dive into that. Yeah, weight management products.
Okay.
Yeah.
This actually made me really happy. This was extremely informative for me. This was. I don't know where you have been all my life, but I definitely need quite a bit. I know that I need. Firstly, I really need the aloe gel.
And with your schedule, your schedule, I think the omega-3 will actually
really,
I mean, your schedule, is tied to omega-3 plus the vital daily.
Yeah.
Yes, forever daily. This.
Okay.
And forever daily. Plus your gel.
Yeah. Because I have a very busy schedule.
Remember, from time to time, you have to, this is the child crying, whatever, and
and work
and
within
work,
that day.
Yeah. So this one too.
All right, just to wrap it up, thank you for coming.
Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, I think we're gonna have a lot of questions regarding this.
Okay.
But I'll talk to you about them and see how we move forward with that as well.
Okay.
All right. Let me just wrap it up. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you're fully informed. If you've got any questions, you can pop them down in the comment section and I will be attending to those. Anything that you're curious about, hopefully we have the answers. But like I said, please like, share and subscribe, and please tell your friends to tell their friends and to tell their friends to subscribe and come watch this video. Bye.
Bye-bye.